Hi, how are you all doing? I'm Sir Ragical, the Unhallowed Knight, and this time around I will be presenting a video made by DeadKennedyInSpace. Have you always been annoyed by flat earthers using words? No, wait. Well, that is an issue too, of course, them merely talking. However, using words wrong in an attempt to dishonestly twist and manipulate them to fit their narrative. That's what this video is all about. Let's go on a trip where DeadKennedyInSpace takes their silly word games and drags them back into reality. Well, you know what they say. We can't simply drag the flerfers back into reality. Instead, let's just drag their little toys back into the real world so they have nothing to play with. Ah, here we go. Front row seats. Enjoy everyone. I'll see you at the end of the video. Shh.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I knew I'd be getting back to this. It's easy to come up with these lists. The only thing it takes is time. After sifting through hours of debates and flatty presentations, I finally got another list of 8 words that flat earthers use completely wrong. Number 1. Pressurized. A common flatty argument is that a vacuum cannot coexist next to a pressurized system without a barrier. The laws of physics state that, in a vacuum, all gases will spread out equally and rapidly to fill the void, so the vacuum of space should be sucking away the Earth's atmosphere, or so they think. Aside from the fact that vacuums don't suck, the Earth's atmosphere isn't pressurized the way they think it is. They're imagining an environment like a balloon, or the ISS, even though they don't believe in that. On that small of a scale, you can't really perceive the pressure gradient created by Earth's atmosphere. This is what creates the barrier between us and the vacuum. As you get higher and higher on Earth, there is less overlaying atmospheric mass, causing the pressure to decrease. To explain my problem with flat earthers calling the Earth a pressurized system, I'll ask them a question. It is a fact that the air is thinner the higher you go. At what altitude does this arbitrarily stop, and why? I'm going to cover this topic more in another Everything Points to the Globe video later. Number 2. Down. I am so absolutely exhausted with NASA's Facebook comments. The flatties there are completely out of control, going ree like triggered monkeys every time they post an image from the ISS. One comment I'm particularly tired of seeing is, "Zoom in on Australia so we can see buildings and people upside down," usually accompanied by about 15 emojis of laughing faces and feces. So, what direction do you think down is, flatties? What exactly is upside down when you're in space? Down is a relative direction, guys. There is no upside down in space. There's a very good explanation of all of this in fiction. The novel Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card revolves largely around characters participating in zero-gravity games. The protagonist finds himself very disoriented by this until he learns a mantra that the enemy's gate is down. He is only able to regain control of his senses once he invents where down is from his perspective. I'm not going to go into any more detail, since I already did a whole video on this, see Everything Points to the Globe number 2, but it's pretty clear to me that basic orientation is just beyond a flat earther's comprehension. Number 3. Cognitive dissonance. This was a big one for my old debate opponent, Maximus Vagnamius. I think he believed it made him sound smarter. It didn't. Cognitive dissonance describes an uncomfortable feeling brought about by holding 2 conflicting views simultaneously. Here's a wonderful example of this phenomenon from the British panel show QI. The reason flatties use this word incorrectly is because they apply it to people who are not experiencing it. I, for instance, do not experience cognitive dissonance because my views are consistent. My absolute is the scientific method, and by its very nature, the scientific method is not contradictory. I once described science as a self-correcting prophecy, and I'm sticking by that. It's like the reverse of that Dalai Lama quote: if science proves some belief of Buddhism wrong, then Buddhism will have to change. One thing that I do wrestle with, but isn't quite cognitive dissonance, is NASA. Now, don't read too far into this, but I am open to the notion that a government might use shady, manipulative, or outright false tactics for some kind of ulterior motive. Don't worry, I'm not going full tinfoil hat here. I'm just saying that I understand the paranoia. That being said, if any conspiracies are true, an agency like NASA would surely have to be in on it. However, I still don't consider this cognitive dissonance, because all I really care about is whether or not they're lying about space, and I know for a fact that they're not. Number 4. Chill. No, I think hash would really be better. Yeah, black briefcase. Okay. Under the door every Friday? Perfect, yeah. Yeah, my place is the one with the Freemason compass on the door. Okay, thanks, Mr. Bridenstine. Bye. Oh, sorry, where was I? Oh, that? That was nothing. Wrong number. Anyway, flatties love to go on about paid NASA shills. A shill is basically a person who is helping a conspirator for monetary gain. The idea here is that all of the Globe YouTube channels are being paid by NASA or the government or the ever-faceless they to promote the heliocentric priesthood and the Globe deception and the alien deception and the Freemason cult and the Jewish cabal. Did I miss any? Oh, the Illuminati. Anyway, the reason flatties are using this wrong is because it's simply hilariously absurd. The idea that a government would pay people to make YouTube videos to counter other YouTube videos just plain doesn't make sense. I've said before that obviously you guys don't trust Google, so why on earth would the faceless they create shill channels instead of just black bagging all of you? They have the power and the legal right to silence and deplatform every single one of you. They don't because they don't care. The beauty of science is that it doesn't matter how many of you idiots want to go on and make silly videos. Science is still science, and it's still true. The funniest iteration of this is on Facebook. The truly mad cult puppets who are there actually believe that the small group of Globers who battle them in the comments are paid shills. Shills paid to make Facebook comments. Come on. Come on, guys. Number 5. Deceiver. This is more of a word etymology thing. A very frequent claim from flatties is that the word NASA means deceiver or to deceive in Hebrew. This is not correct. The Hebrew word that we pronounce as NASA, or more correctly, nasar, is a primitive verb meaning to lift up, to support, or to carry. In the King James Bible, this word is used 654 times in 611 verses, and not a single one of them has anything to do with deception. What the flatties have done here is a confusion of how Hebrew words are pronounced. The word quoted in the image is actually pronounced nasha, or nashar, and does mean to deceive. Unfortunately, this word has nothing to do with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. A related claim is that Wernher von Braun, once director of the Marshall Space Flight Center, has a Bible passage on his tombstone about being wary of deception. This is not true. The verse is Psalms 19:1, and if you take a good look at it, is basically only giving thanks to God for the work he did looking at space in the sky. Another thing to consider here is that this is a good example of cognitive bias. Even if they didn't get the words wrong, what would it matter if these two words coincidentally correlate? It reminds me of this Odd reality video, in which Odd gets briefly hung up on a problem he has with Disney.
We all love Disney, right? Well, Disney, with the 666 in his logo.
If you cherry pick what you want to see, like, what? With the 666 in its logo? Okay, there's also a 111 in its logo if I draw on it, let's see, here, here, and here. What does that mean? Like, you're seeing what you want to see, you f***ing nut job?
Has a special club at Disneyland called Club 33. And if that wasn't enough, Walt Disney helped found NASA along with Wernher von Braun, L. Ron Hubbard, and Jack Parsons.
Okay. More blatant lies. Wernher von Braun, yes. Wernher von Braun was, 1 backwards 6. That's a stretch. Yeah. He's stretching everything here. But, yeah, Wernher von Braun was involved with NASA. It's called Operation Paperclip. This is something they like to refer to as though it's some big secret, even though it's public knowledge and everybody knows about it. Operation Paperclip was they hired a bunch of former Nazi scientists to come back to America to assist with post-war research. Whoop-de-doo. One of them was really good with rockets, Wernher von Braun. He made the V-2, so they put him in charge of the Marshall Space Flight Center. Why the hell not? Like, there's nothing suspicious about that, especially when it's all public. Number 6. Model. I've gone over this in way more detail in another video, so I'd advise checking that out, but here's a quick summary. Anytime a flatty refers to the flat earth model, they are immediately lying. There is no flat earth model, at least no working one. A scientific model is an explanation of reality that can account for natural phenomena and make predictions about those same phenomena. Flatties do not have this. They do not have a working explanation for gravity, visible curvature, the sun, eclipses, flight paths, satellites, the ISS, the pole stars, the tides, or anything else. It's that simple. Number 7. Practical. When debating, flat earthers love to ask for practical demonstrations of globe claims. For instance, Roid Rage Dell from Behind the Imaginary Curve wants to see a practical demonstration of a pressurized system coexisting next to a vacuum. What he means by practical is some kind of lab experiment one can do with items around the house and maybe some duct tape. However, that isn't really what practical means. Both of this adjective's definitions have to do with whether or not something will work in reality. If it works in reality, then it's practical. In a debate, Red's Rhetoric responded to Dell's request with this footage of the launch of the Atlas V 551, which he filmed himself. Notice that as the rocket gains altitude, the gases expanding out of it begin to expand wider and wider until they can no longer be seen. This is clear and practical evidence of the pressure gradient that separates the atmosphere from space. However, all this evidence elicits from Dell is another temper tantrum.
So we can move on. Fucking morons, they're just lying, deceptive, ye pieces of shit. We're not here for honest discourse.
Dell doesn't know what pressure is. Okay, we're not Dell. When I told you before. Dell, hush.
Okay, listen. Total no.
Another example is with Nathan Thompson. In a debate with Fight the Flat Earth, the two briefly got stuck on the subject of gravitational orbits. Nathan kept requesting practical evidence of gravitational orbits, to a point where he infuriated Fight into going just a little overboard.
So I'm going to ask like a third time and then I'll drop it. Do you have any proof of gravitational orbits here on Earth, or can you only point at the sky and claim that that's
I can prove that mass attracts mass, Nathan. That's all I need to do. The fact that mass attracts mass proves gravitational orbits.
So, no, it doesn't. The idea that everything...
Yes, it does. You can say...
Hold
no,
on,
sorry.
Hold on.
You can say no, it doesn't.
Nope. Stop interrupting each other.
Right, okay. First of all, you're saying, I want you to prove things happening in the sky without pointing to the sky. Don't be ridiculous. The fact that mass attracts mass. Nathan, I'm responding to you. The fact that mass attracts mass proves that gravitational orbits are a thing.
No proof on Earth of gravitational orbits, just so all the audiences.
So you just ignore what I said. That's fine.
Okay.
You want me to prove something in space on Earth? Nathan, well, I can prove that mass attracts mass. That's all I need to do.
Compared to the medium that the object is in.
Boom.
So mass.
There's the magic words.
Okay. Look, listen. I don't.
Sorry.
I don't like getting upset, but I'm really starting to get upset because I've asked 900,000 times for each other to stop interrupting each other, and I mean it this time. Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's my one pet peeve. Stop interrupting each other.
The problem here is that Nathan is either not comprehending or willfully ignoring the size of planetary bodies. There is no way to do a tabletop demonstration of a gravitational orbit. However, all one needs to do is prove the premise that mass attracts mass, which has been done. The Cavendish experiment has proved this, especially since it's been repeated ad nauseum, including being done in a vacuum chamber. The experiment has a lot of complicated math behind it, but it essentially involves using lead spheres suspended from wire that measure the faint gravitational attraction between them. Flatties deny this experiment for absolutely no good reason, except that it completely and categorically proves gravity. If you can prove gravity, you can prove the shape of the Earth. If you can prove the shape of the Earth, you can prove gravitational orbits. You lose, Nathan. And finally, number 8, theory. Gravity is just a theory. Evolution is just a theory. This nonsense really, really, really needs to stop. This comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of what the word theory means in the scientific sense. A scientific theory is an explanation of the natural world that can and already has been repeatedly tested and confirmed to comport with reality. It is in accordance with the scientific method and uses accepted protocols of observation, measurement, and evaluation. An established scientific theory has withstood rigorous scrutiny from the scientific community, which is not at all known to be forgiving. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Scientists don't care about your feelings. What's true is true regardless of your subjective worldview. What flatties have done is conflate the word theory in the scientific sense with its use in the broad sense. Even in the broad sense, A theory is a rational type of thinking, and the results of such thinking. Its root word, the Greek thera, means a looking at or a viewing. It's a method, not so much an idea. Regardless of how they mean it, flat earthers never ever use the word theory correctly. What we need to do when engaging in pursuits of science and logic is keep a strict compass when it comes to the words we use. Our language is a tool through which to spread ideas, and if we misuse our language, we end up misusing our ideas as well. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel, which is DeadKennedyInSpace. My name is Kevin, and I'm out.
Like it or not, for the moment, the earth is where we make our stand.
And there it is. Thank you very much, Kevin, for taking their words and turning them against these flers. They are beyond frustrating with their play on words, mostly because they are constantly repeating and parroting of each other. Also called the dreaded echo chambers of circle jerking. A special thanks to one of my commenters. How you doing, Dinky Dee Dory? Well, holy hell, I love saying that word. Dinky Dee Dory. Dinky Dee Dory. Dinky Dee Dory. That's one hell of a nickname. I love it. Anyway, good on you for pointing out DeadKennedyInSpace to me. Didn't I tell you guys? This shit was awesome, wasn't it? Now if you like what you see, go right over to the description below the video and give him a sub. All the links are in there, along with some other stuff. So, thanks for watching, and this is really fun, isn't it? Just hanging out with you guys, getting some new people in here, and of course, shining my spotlight on spiffy stuff. And also make sure you tickle my bell and subscriber button, if you know what I mean. That sounds wrong on so many levels, and I'm not even sorry. Hey, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.